My dad was the kind of dad that tickled and played the memory game and gave wheelbarrow rides. He told me stories and memorized every word to where the wild things are. He would sing me, "I love you, a bushel and a peck and a hug around the neck," and I knew it meant he loved me to the moon and back. He was everything in my little world. My dad would have turned 65 this February. I was 6 years old when he passed away, so I don't have a lot of memories that I necessarily can claim as my own. He was the kind of dad that knelt beside me and taught me how to pray. He read me stories, and he told stories, and he sang me songs. He loved his family, which was probably his most defining characteristic. The day my dad died started out just like any other day. But then we got checked out of school, and that evening my mom came by and picked us up, and we went to the grounds where my dad proposed to my mom. And my mom said, "Someone very important has died today." And I remember my brother and I guessing who it could be, our grandma, grandpa. And every time my mom shook her head no, but I knew that something was terribly wrong because tears were just streaming down her face. And that's when my mom told us that no, it was my dad that passed away. After 20 months of failed chemo and radiation to fight Hodgkin's lymphoma, he succumbed to his disease. I think grief is a really big word for a 6-year-old. If I could have any word to describe that experience, it was grief and pain all together. He was my hero, and I adored my dad. And I was his little girl. Over time, our family healed, and we found happiness despite the loss created by cancer. Years later, I met John, a crazy, green-eyed boy who wore flannel shirts with buttons that looked like butter rum lifesavers. He took on life as one grand adventure. We started our own adventure, marriage. Watching John hold our baby for the first time was a joy I couldn't fully anticipate. As the years passed, he reminded me more and more of my dad. He too played the memory game and gave wheelbarrow rides and memorized every word to where the wild things are. Then, on a Wednesday afternoon in November, as I was carrying groceries from the car, my phone rang. It was John. I expected him to tell me about his doctor's appointment, maybe that he needed an antibiotic or just more rest. Instead, he said, "The doctor thinks it's leukemia." As I sat in the ER and watched the nurse fill vial after vial of my husband's blood, I couldn't help but think of my dad. All the memories of losing him and the fear of losing John nearly capsized me. Could it happen again? When we found out that John was sick, we had a 4-year-old little boy and a 2-year-old little boy, and I was 7 months pregnant with our 3rd child. From my perspective, I was terrified to lose my spouse, to lose my best friend, to lose my better half. But I was also terrified for my children because I know what that loss is like. And I never wanted to have to tell my children that their father had died and that he wasn't coming home. That was the thought that I was trying to keep out of my head. But did it sneak in? You bet it did. It snuck in when I was trying to go to sleep, or when I first woke up in the morning, or as we're sitting there for a blood test to come back and you're praying for good news and you're hoping that the doctor's going to say something positive, but you don't know. And that's when I tried to fight that worry and to fight that image in my head of actually having to tell my children that their father died. After chemo, a stem cell transplant, and a full range of complications, John pulled through. There were times when John was sick that were just dreadfully sad, but there were also moments while we went through the journey that were really hopeful. It's amazing the support that came in. I remember a classmate of John's volunteering to pay our mortgage. I remember meals being brought in, friends watching our children, and no one ever made it seem like helping us was an inconvenience. And I think that's at the core of being human, is when you see people in need and you see people grieving, that you want to be able to help. And they were there for us in every way. My children don't have memories of a graveside, but of their dad, who celebrates his transplant birthday every March. John's a survivor and has been cancer-free for 8 years.
We need more stories like these. We need more stories of hope, more stories of love and of miracles and of healing. I want to live in a world where cancer stories are survivor stories. For a Cure Today was created to celebrate survivors, to support those currently fighting, and to honor those who have passed, but most especially to show the world that there is hope in the fight against cancer.
Join with us and For a Cure Today to donate to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, who has funded the most innovative and promising cancer research to date. Together, we can turn cancer stories into survivor stories.